Hello everybody, welcome back to Expedition Homestead. I hope you're all having a wonderful summer of growth so far in all of your gardens. As you can see behind me here, our gardens are doing incredibly well. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about specifically our Kholarabi over here. We're going to tell you guys how we grew our Kholarabi and how you guys should grow your Kholarabi as well to make sure that you've got the most incredible Kholarabi plants as possible. It's a really simple and easy plant to grow, and I assure you guys, if you've never grown Kholarabi before, you're going to be very happy with the results that you get and then the taste of the Kholarabi as well. So let's dive right into it. First, before we talk about how to grow it, I'm going to harvest one of our Kholarabi. That is the kind of Kholarabi that we want to grow in our gardens. On a quick side note, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up if you enjoy today's content. We've got a lot of incredible videos coming out year-round here in Wisconsin, so you're definitely going to want to stay tuned. All right, so now I'm going to tell you how to grow these Kholarabi and the types of environments that they like the most. And then after that, I will tell you how and when to harvest your Kholarabi that you've grown throughout the spring and early summer months. So Kholarabi is in the cabbage genus, actually. So it's related to cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and it's a cool weather crop. This likes as cold of weather as possible without freezing, obviously. Anywhere from about above 40 degrees, it's going to start growing better and better. But you're going to want to sow your seeds indoors about 2 to 4 weeks before your last frost, or even outdoors. You can sow them outdoors before your last frost so they can grow outdoors during the entire time. Kholarabi, though, before you sow the seeds, I encourage you to put in a lot of compost or organic matter into the bed or garden area that you're growing them. They like a lot of organic material mixed in there and amended into the soil. So they're looking for a rich soil to grow into. The Kholarabi also like a soil that's a little bit more on the moist side. So about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of water per week should be given to the garden beds. I'm not saying only water them once a week. Obviously, if you've got dry conditions, you're going to have to water them more often, maybe even every 2 days. If you have really high temperatures towards the end of the season and no rain, you're going to have to be watering more frequently. But in general, a good rule of thumb is to go 2 knuckles down into the soil. Since this likes moist soil, we want to make sure that that soil remains moist up to 2 knuckles on a consistent basis when growing our Kholarabi. Another thing about this Kholarabi is that it should get basically full sun. If you're growing a vegetable garden in the first place, usually you do want to get as much sun as possible because most plants will thrive under full sun conditions. So keep it in as much sun as possible. One of the biggest keys to growing Kholarabi is just the time of the year. So start that thing inside as early as possible so your seedlings are growing strong and healthy before you transplant them outside. If you don't know when to transplant your vegetables or when to start your seeds, you can go onto the Farmer's Almanac and search for their planter's calendar. Oh, here, little guy wants us to show you our beet. He's in the garden bed back over here picking some beets while I'm making the video. We've got a ton of beets this year. I mean, this is our 3rd harvest of beets. So in total, I think we've gotten maybe 3 dozen beets so far. I mean, I love them. We're going to ferment them and then pickle them. So they're really great long term. We can also cook them and freeze them. But just a little side note there. So I was talking about the Farmer's Almanac planting calendar. If you don't know when to start these things, indoors, outdoors, if you should start it indoors or outdoors, just look up the Farmer's Almanac. It's a really quick and easy guide to know when to plant in your area specifically. You can type in your zip code and all the pertainable information will be right there for you. Get these in before the weather gets very hot. So quick recap, get them started early, get them growing in a highly organic, rich soil, and then keep the soil pretty moist consistently throughout the growing season, full sun as well. So then when should you pick your kohlrabi, assuming that they are doing so well? Do you let it grow this big? I mean, this giant kohlrabi, should you let it grow this big or pick it when it's smaller? Well, this is a Cossack kohlrabi, or Kholarabi, however you pronounce it. I pronounce it Kalarabi. This is a Cossack kohlrabi. This is one of the largest types of kohlrabi that you can find. And so this I picked, I would say it's about 8 inches wide or so. So a really decently sized kohlrabi. If you're just planting your standard white kohlrabi, which we've got them growing back in that third garden bed. I think we've got about 18 of them growing back there. A couple different varieties of kohlrabi besides these Cossacks. If you're growing a normal size kohlrabi, you're gonna pick it when it's between 3 to 5 inches, 5 inches at the most, unlike these Cossack kohlrabis. So the reason why you pick them when they're a little bit smaller is because otherwise they get pithy and really woody as they age. So if you start to see some cracking around the plant, or it starts to elongate a little bit, so not quite as stout, and it starts to grow upwards, and this vertical stem elongates, that's definitely a telltale sign that it's going to be, it's been in the ground for too long and you should really pick it. So you get better tasting, more moist, more enjoyable vegetable from the kohlrabi when picking it younger compared to pushing it a little bit too far and possibly growing a pithy and woody kohlrabi and then just completely ruining it. So don't be afraid to pick it smaller compared to larger. So 2-3 inches ideal. If you want to really push it and try and get a larger kohlrabi, do 5 inches. And if you've got a Cossack like this one, try and get 5 to 8 out of it because these are so good. Well, I suppose I should check out for today. Our next video coming out is probably going to be a garden tour here because we've got all sorts of incredible vegetables growing here and different stuff that we're harvesting. So I kind of want to show you guys all that before we harvest out a lot of our summer crop here. So with that being said, I hope you all are having an incredible gardening adventure. We'll see you in the next episode.